I have been on a lot of winter journeys in Ladakh and Zanskar, each journey more remote and more exciting than the one before. And this winter, I got a chance to go more deeper and further into the valleys of Zanskar to visit Ralakung, the last remaining woodworking artisanal village of Zanskar. My journey to Ralakung started with a familiar place, the village of Pishu, and with a familiar face, my friend Tukche Gyatso, who helped me recover from frostbite last winter. Usually I enjoyed traveling alone in the mountains, but Ralakung was so remote and so unknown to me that it was not safe for me to go alone. So I took the help of Achu Gyatso, who has a lot of experience in these mountains. We were joined by a couple more friends, Mutup from the nearby Sasar village and Lopsang from Stongdim. Lopsang gave us a ride all the way to the start of the trail where the Varnachu stream flows down from the mountains to meet the Zanskar river. The winter trail to Ralakung starts from the place where the Varnachu and the Zanskar rivers meet. The trail follows the Varnachu river upstream, passing the village of Junction, and after a while it turns left into a side valley towards Ralakung. The hike from start to finish was absolutely breathtaking. The Varnachu is a very fast-flowing stream and it has cut an impressive gorge on its way down from the mountains. This route is normally not possible during the summer months, but the stream freezes during the winter months, creating a nice pathway to follow all the way to Ralakung. We stopped for tea at around 1 p.m. and took a nice long break before setting off again. On the way, we passed the village of Junction, which has only 2 houses. There was nothing remarkable about the village, so we just spent a few minutes saying hello to the inhabitants and then headed towards our destination for the night. Our destination was a cave close to where the trail turns left away from the Varnachu stream and into the side valley leading towards Ralakung. The cave has traditionally served as refuge for travelers to Ralakung, and it was where we planned to spend the night with a cozy fire and some hot food. We reached the cave and were pleasantly surprised to find that it was already inhabited by the villagers of Ralakung. The people of Ralakung are famous for their woodworking skills. They are the only people in Zanskar who still make traditional wooden barrels, spoons, ladles, etc., and it was heartening to see them at work in the cave. Achu Gyatso made some tasty tukpa for dinner, and we spent the evening by the fire listening to the stories of the villagers and watching them work. The next morning, we said our goodbyes to Achu Gyatso and only me and Mutub set off on our own towards Ralakung. The villagers had come to the cave only a few days back, and they had created a nice trail in the snow for us to follow all the way to Ralakung. The walk was again very enjoyable with some spectacular views. A few hours later, we reached a meeting point called the Phenang Sumdo, where the trail bifurcates into two. The name Ralakung actually refers to two separate villages, Ralakung Phima and Ralakung Nagma, which are two different villages located in two different valleys separated by a mountain in between. Phenang Sumdo is where the trail from the two villages meet, and we decided to take the trail to Ralakung Phima, which was a bit closer and easier to get to than Ralakung Nagma. Ralakung Phima is a small village of just 4 households. We stayed at the home of Sering Mutub and his wife Sawang Yangdol and their 2 lovely children, Stansan Lugri and Stansan Chenga. And they were all so welcoming and so kind to us that I had an incredible time at Ralakung. The food we had at Ralakung was fantastic, easily the best food that I've ever eaten in all my travels around Ladakh and Zanskar. It was the normal fare comprising of tuppa, momo, dal and rice that is eaten elsewhere in Ladakh, but the villagers used spices and herbs from the mountains around them to season the food, and it tasted absolutely incredible. Our host was a woodworking artisan, and he showed us the fascinating process of making the traditional barrels called the sim.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ralakung was unlike any other village that I had visited in Zanskar. I would have loved to stay there for a long time, but my friend Mutub had to leave for an archery competition in a couple of days, and the locals also warned us that the ice on the Ornachu stream would start breaking up soon, making it difficult for us to return. So after spending just 3 days in Ralakung, we reluctantly left for Padam. The return journey from the village was mostly downhill, so it was even more enjoyable and a lot of fun. We stopped for the night at Junction and left early next morning towards the road across the Zanskar river. It was only a couple of hours long, and with an early start, we had a lot of time to enjoy our walk before reaching the road by the Zanskar river. We waited at the road for our friend to come pick us up, and then we returned back to Padam, but not before we saw a lot of wildlife on the way, like ibex and wolves, etc.